Welcome to NASA Edge, an inside and outside look at all things NASA. Today we're here with Mark Baldwin from Lockheed Martin. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Now, you're about to conduct the third in a series of drop tests for the Orion spacecraft. What are you at Lockheed Martin and what does NASA want to learn from these drop tests?
This is a very important test series for the engineering team, the structures team, and the program as a whole, because we are at the final stages of development. And what's behind me is the highest fidelity replication of our flight crew module or spacecraft. We intend to drop it into the hydro impact basin here at NASA Langley to obtain data within the vehicle around the structure. We have over 500 sensors in the vehicle to capture what happens when the outer structure hits the water and the loads cascade through and around the structure. And the purpose of that from an engineering and a design standpoint is to verify that the analyses we've used to size the vehicle, design the structure, in fact matches the things we measure when we go do a physical test. Orion is intending to land in the ocean. Each mission should come down under 3 parachutes. Those parachutes slow down our velocity and also hangs us at a particular angle. And those are the things that we use as input conditions to replicate here in flat water in the hydro impact basin at NASA Langley. So this is going to be a test that we run that will replicate a possible condition and an extreme condition out in the ocean, but here it's much more controlled, and we can get all the data we need to help the engineering teams really assess, will this structure withstand environments out in the real world?
Now, does this test represent an increased height from the drop, or are you doing a different angle? What are the features that you're going to learn from this particular upcoming test?
Good question. So this is the third of 4 total tests. We've already completed 2. The first test was a very low level test. We were only 1.5 feet off the water, and that represented a nominal of nominal day, the most expected type of landing. And it's around 3 Gs on the crew if you're sitting in the seats, which is pretty benign. We don't expect any issues with that with the structure or the crew. The second test we ran went up to a higher level that's closer to our design values. So when the engineering teams have to create structure, obviously mass is very important. And so we have the challenge of trying to balance mass of the vehicle and the loads in the environments that we're going to see. So the second test represented something that we call limit or design level environments. And we took that up to about 8 feet and dropped it. This test, we're going close to 10 feet high, and that's the lowest point of the vehicle to the water. And we're going to pitch the vehicle at an angle that is one of the flattest we will see. And if you look at the heat shield structure, you'll notice that it's a curved, domed shape. And what we're doing is we're pitching the vehicle sideways, because it will hang underneath the parachutes from a point, and that point always has the vehicle pitched at an angle. What we're doing is we're hitting this as shallow as we expect to see in the real world, which represents a wave coming up and maybe the vehicle swinging under that wave, and the difference between the two becomes very minimal. And that represents, I think we've all gone off the diving board and you landed flat. That hurts a lot more, right? The belly flop is the most painful because you've got a flat area of the structure or your body if you're diving off the board and the water. So that's what we're looking to see, is a very flat, high velocity test to give us the clear loads up through the structure on that one side of the vehicle.
I tell you, you've conjured up quite the image, bringing up belly flops. I can't get that image out of my head. Now I'm wondering, what's on the inside? I kind of understand the heat shield and testing the external side. But what are you testing inside the vehicle? Because humans will not obviously be in a test like this. What do you expect to learn?
So it's hard to tell from the exterior because, number one, we've painted it black due to sealing because we don't want any water intrusion during the testing. But the real flight vehicle will not be that color. What you can't see is all the complexity that's interior. Things like computers and tanks and lots of individual components that need to keep Orion habitable for that crew in deep space missions. So we have representations of a lot of that hardware here that is either flight fidelity or nearly flight fidelity, or a mass simulator, which is roughly the shape, size, and stiffness of those parts. And we instrument those things to verify that once we hit the water, none of those break, and if they need to function after landing, we'll still be able to function.
That's awesome, Mark. And of course, we want to see a successful test, this test and the next test, because these are the last tests you'll perform like this before actually flying Artemis 1, hopefully later this year. Is that correct?
Yep. Of course, out in open water, any day can be kind of a crazy weather day. So we need to do these sort of controlled experiments here to verify if we hit that extreme weather day, the vehicle can still withstand it and the crew will be safe.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, we wish you the best, and hopefully we'll see a successful test tomorrow and then a fourth swing test. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
All right, thanks for having me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release.
And a beautiful belly flop, successful third test for the Orion spacecraft, Lockheed Martin and NASA. You're watching NASA Edge, an inside and outside look at all things NASA.